based on the beautiful teachings of Jesus in A Course in Miracles and of all of his teachings really over the last 2,000 years. It's beautiful to consider practical application. A lot of times when I'm talking to people, they say, really, I just want to be happy. I want to feel free. I want to feel joy. I want to feel love. And it seems like underneath all of that is I want to just really live a simple life. Please, God, grant me a simple life. And so we learn a lot from Jesus, because I think there's a lot of us that have really said we want a simple life. Please show us the way to a simple life. And sometimes we have associated simplicity with simplicity in form, but Jesus is really telling us that everything we perceive in the world, including our personality selves and everything and everyone, is just a projection. It's a perception that comes from our belief system. And as long as we believe in the ego, we believe in complexity. The ego is a belief in separation from God, so that's very complex belief. And everything that springs from the ego is complex. So if you talk to people, they will say, oh, it's a very complex world. This is a dog-eat-dog world. This is a world of conflict and competition. They just say, look around. You see it everywhere in the world. They say their mind feels conflicted at times, and Jesus is basically teaching us only a single purpose, only a constant purpose can endow events with stable meaning. In other words, you will not see a peaceful world, you will not experience peace of mind until you come in contact with your intuition, until you come in contact with the Holy Spirit, until you come in contact with Jesus and the voice from Jesus. Then it's going to be conflictual. And no matter how you try to simplify your life with minimizing things, or trying to turn away from materialism, or trying to turn away from things and distractions of the world, you have to start to realize that the distractions are coming from the mind. They're coming from the subconscious mind. You also have to realize that you're not going to find simplicity in the form. Even in terms of behavior, Jesus is teaching us that what you do comes from what you think. And he says then it's with your thoughts alone that we must work. In other words, the level of mind, the level of cognition and thinking is where the correction is made, and that correction is made by the Holy Spirit. And there's a lot of spiritualities that kind of associate the mind with the ego, but Jesus is saying, well, you actually have a divine mind, a mind that you share with Christ, the one mind of Christ, and you also, that mind shares the mind of God, that Christ is an idea in the mind of God. Those are important kind of metaphysics, because you start to realize that the mind isn't really the problem. I know a lot of non-dual teachers like to associate the mind with the problem and the heart with the answer, but actually the mind and the heart are unified. When the heart is single, the mind is single. And when you start to realize that the mind that believes in the ego is where the problem is generated. The belief in separation from God is the horrific belief. It's the belief that brings all destabilizing effects, apparent effects. It also brings a sense of turmoil, a sense of tyranny. It's like a house divided. A mind split is a mind that believes in the ego but still has a remembrance of God in it, the Holy Spirit. And that's why we have to train our minds to listen to Jesus and to follow Jesus, to be in our right mind, to be sane. To be sane is no small thing. Peace of mind is no small thing. Peace of mind is You might say it's the natural experience of listening to your inner voice, to your higher power. So today, I just was feeling to talk a little bit about simplicity and to answer the prayer. Let the Spirit come through and answer the prayer for a simple life. So, as usual, I will share some passages from Jesus in A Course in Miracles that really help us zoom into simplicity. And what I would say is a simple way of thinking is to be right-minded, to be thinking with the Holy Spirit, is to be thinking with God. To try to think apart from the Holy Spirit, which is to try to think with the ego, is to try to think against God. Really, we have to start to realize that consciousness is the domain of the ego, and Jesus tells us that consciousness arose after the seeming fall from grace. So consciousness is going to be the area, the arena of mind that is receiving messages from above, we'll say the Holy Spirit, and below, the ego. And so we want to train our mind to just listen to one voice, to only hear the Holy Spirit, to only hear Jesus's voice in our mind, and then have a happy, simple life. Happy, simple, joyful life. No small thing at all. So I will share some passages here from Jesus to help us along the way to a simple life. And then I will have a song from Svava that it's actually titled Simple Life. It will be our meditation, our prayerful meditation at the end of this broadcast. So I'll start off by sharing a little bit from chapter 2. This is paragraph 6. Jesus is saying, "It is possible to reach a state in which you bring your mind under my guidance without conscious effort. But this implies a willingness that you have not developed as yet. The Holy Spirit cannot ask more than you are willing to do. The strength to do comes from your undivided decision. There is no strain in doing God's will as soon as you recognize that it is also your own. The lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. I will therefore repeat it, urging you to listen. Only your mind can produce fear. It does so whenever it is conflicted in what it wants, producing inevitable strain because wanting and doing are discordant. This can be corrected only by accepting a unified goal." So that's beautiful. A unified goal, that's our purpose. Jesus, if you took all the teachings of Jesus from 2,000 years ago and you boiled down the Sermon on the Mount to just 2 words, it would be judge not. And the way we judge not is we forgive. We have to learn to forgive the world. We have to learn to be so centered in the guidance and the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, so led by Jesus, that basically we overlook the error of the ego. We're able to, with the light of the Holy Spirit and the vision of Christ, we're able to overlook the error, or if you want to call it sin, missing the mark. If you want to call it misperception, we come so lit up in the light of Christ that we basically see the light everywhere we look, in every direction. And that's because the world is a projection of thoughts. And when we line up with the Holy Spirit's thought system, which is the thought system of forgiveness, then we are able to overlook mistakes. We don't even see the mistakes. We just are the bright beaming light that Jesus demonstrated, just shining, sharing, gentle, very accepting, very loving. He was basically saying, if someone smites you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. If somebody asks for your coat, offer your cloak as well. He was in the giving spirit of God, gracious love, unending gracious love, unconditional love. So that's where the simplicity is. We have to live like Jesus. Okay, here's another teaching from Jesus from chapter 4, and this is paragraph 6. My trust in you is greater than yours in me at the moment, but it will not always be that way. Your mission is very simple. You are asked to live so as to demonstrate that you are not an ego, and I do not choose God's channels wrongly. The Holy One shares my trust and accepts my atonement decisions because my will is never out of accord with his. So he's talking about the Holy One. The Holy Spirit and Jesus share the same will. So Jesus is saying, my atonement decisions, my will is never out of accord with his, with the Holy Spirit's, with God's will. Jesus is and is the living demonstration of God's will, of perfect divine love. I have said this before, that I am in charge of the atonement. This is only because I completed my part in it as a man and now complete it through others. My chosen channels cannot fail because I will lend them my strength as long as theirs is wanting. I will go with you to the Holy One, and through my perception, he can bridge the little gap. Your gratitude to your brother is the only gift I want. So Jesus is really laying it out for us here, that basically he's saying, you know, if you can just live to demonstrate that you're not an ego, then you will be demonstrating that you are a child of God. and when you open up to what that really means, I'm as God created me. I am sustained by the love of God. I am the light of the world. You start to see that not you as a person, but the spirit you, the real you, is the light of the world. And you demonstrate it by your attitudes. Are you friendly? Are you kind? Are you welcoming? Are you loving? Are you embracing? These are attitudes that are befitting of a child of God. And even in this world, if someone says, are you like a teacher of God, or like a miracle world worker or something, then you can just demonstrate it by your loving, carefree, all-encompassing, embracing attitude. You have an attitude that basically accepts all things exactly as they are. That's where your kindness comes from too, because you start to live in such harmony with God, in such harmony with spirit and divine will, that everything you think and say and do teaches love. Your principle, your guiding principle in life is teach only love, for that is what you are. Or you could say, that is what I am. I'm only love. I remember the cartoon Popeye. Some of you remember Popeye loved to eat his spinach, and he loved his mussels, and he had a girlfriend, Olive Oil. But I remember Popeye would say things like, I am what I am, and that's all that I am. Well, actually, that's Jesus coming through Popeye. Just think of Jesus in your heart, the Christ. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I can be nothing else. I was created by God, and I cannot be anything else. I cannot be an image. I cannot be a self-concept that God did not create. I cannot be all the roles that were made for this identity on earth. I can't be any of them, because I am as God created me. I am spirit. Before Abraham was, I am, Jesus said in the Bible, and he was just pointing us back to that pristine, innocent self that God created. That's, we call the present moment, the I amness, the gateway to eternity. Okay, and what else do we have to hear from Jesus about simplicity? Well, I think probably in all my years of working with the Course, 30 some years, I think this passage probably it sums it up better than anything else. I remember the first time I read this passage, my heart chords were going so strong, and I was like in the hush of heaven. I just was like, oh my God, this is this is everything. And I could hear Jesus inside saying, yeah, pay attention. Pay attention to this, because in this it is the answer to everything. It's what you've been praying for. This is from Workbook Lesson 189 in paragraph 7. Simply do this. Be still and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is. All concepts you have learned about the world, all images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is either true or false, or good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with holy empty hands unto your God. And now we'll listen to the song from Svava, to meditation, to send us off for the day. This is a song from Svava called A Simple Life. That's my prayer today. That's my prayer for you, that you dance through this day like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, from the old days. You just dance through the day in a simple way. Live your simple life. Live each moment given from the Holy Spirit. Come and bring your mind's attention to the holy present and cast aside thoughts of the past and the future. Be carefree. Live simple today. I join you in that. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining in. God bless you.